Aloha, everybody, and welcome. Gosh, it feels like forever since we've done our own live streams, and I think it has been forever. It's been a couple of months, I think. So it's really nice to be up and running here at home. So welcome, everybody. We know there's a lot of stuff going on this weekend. Oh, I didn't realize that this was still on, so my apologies. That's why we have the sound check, right? So, welcome, everyone. How neat. Awesome. Just making sure, checking stuff on my iPad. Craig is at his desk, of course, at the manning his station. It's great to see so many folks joining us. But yeah, there's a ton of stuff this weekend. Our good friends are putting together Midwest Youth Camp, I think, is this weekend. And I just if for those of you guys who are at Midwest Youth Camp watching the replay, we miss you guys. Hopefully, we'll be able to do another Midwest Youth Camp. That was always one of the ones we would look forward to. It's a really fun event. So yay! Oh, there's already yay! So many great folks that we're seeing in the chat. Hi, everybody. Excellent. Yay! So welcome to the sound check. It's awesome to be here. Right now, it's funny, whenever we are recording at home, there's always a potential of, things out of our control, like yardmen and things. I think we have the sound dialed in so you don't hear a couple houses down. We've got some yard guys out and about. Oh, it's so nice. So we have folks coming into us from Brazil and also the UK, the Netherlands. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. This is going to be fun. So just as sort of an overview, today we're going to actually kind of take a look at the song Yesterday by the Beatles, and we'll start off kind of looking at, and we're just looking at chords right now, and we're just gonna start off looking at the bass of it and sort of the original feel of the song, and then we'll add some chord substitutions and things to it that you can commonly hear done with the song, and then we're gonna just really change things up and make the song feel like different tunes. And kind of showcasing more with the right hand, because we've spent so many of these great live streams on left hand stuff, and there will be some of that, but we decided we wanted to really focus more on right hand stuff and really creating syncopated rhythms and changing things up. So that's really what a lot of today is going to be about. So,
and yes, we can definitely bring up some volume. Let's see.
Is your mic on, Craig?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, let's try that there. How is Sarah sounding now?
All right, so hopefully that's why we have these sound checks, is just for this. So thank you guys for letting us know if you're having trouble hearing me and all of that good stuff. Thank you guys. Oof, there's a heat wave in Alberta. I'm so sorry. It probably
Someone
means...
mentioned there was a tornado and thunderstorm watch too.
Yikes. Where?
Chicago.
Okay, yeah. Awesome. Good. Okay, somebody says it all sounds great. Hooray! And then it sounds better. So thank you guys. I love this live chat. It's always so helpful. Thank you guys. Nice. I love it. Thank you. So that should be a lot of fun, diving into different feels for the song, etc. And then we also do have so we have the packets available. If you haven't already purchased your packet, you can go to the website that's listed below, craigandsarah.com/live, and you can purchase your packet there. We do have the free option. You just have to email us, and Craig and I are both checking our emails, making sure that let me pull up my email, just making sure that if somebody emails us saying, oh my gosh, I need a packet, that you can definitely go ahead and do that.
You do have to showcase your new shirt.
Oh, yes. So yes, we actually got some of these delivered to us early. So we had a pre-sale for, I'm going to stand a little bit. Whoop. So we had a pre-sale on these shirts actually for Ukulele Festival Hawaii. They're really cool. And we actually ordered some early for us to be able to make sure that we liked the shirt and the feel and all of that. So the pre-sales are done, but don't worry if you didn't get your festival shirt for Ukulele Festival Hawaii. We actually are going to have another round of second orders coming up for that. So, and we'll have a few of the blue for sale, I think, for a little bit before that second round of orders is put up again. So yeah, they're really nice. I really, really like them a lot. I have a feeling I'll be wearing this shirt a ton. But I just put the order in today for all of those pre-ordered shirts. And so those should be mailed to everyone by, I think we had told people July 14th, but I think actually the date they gave me was July 15th for those shirts. So you'll have them for the festival so that you can take pictures of yourself, next to your TV or whatever in your shirt, enjoying the event on the 18th. So it should be a lot of fun. But yes, I do have the new 51st annual Ukulele Festival Hawaii t-shirt on.
I'm going to jump on screen with you for a second. And good morning, everyone. I just wanted to bring up a few questions that we had as well for our artist work students. I think the deadline was Monday.
It's the 28th. I don't know what
Monday. But we do have a lot of videos in. If you need just a few more days, you can. I'll put that on the website as well. But we are so excited to put that all together. You guys did a great job.
We've gotten so many awesome submissions. Yes.
And then the other question, we had questions about our virtual retreat with Jake Shimabukuro and Herb Ota Jr. So that is, I think, the biggest question was when we're stopping the early bird pricing. And I think we're going to go at least until the end of the month, maybe a week into July, just to, it's a whole weekend with us. It's
and Craig, get a little louder for you.
I want to make sure that we give everyone a chance to kind of jump in at that initial price. But again, one of our favorite things that we're doing for that is we're going to give you guys, if you choose to, we're going to give you guys individual feedback on a performance song. So after the retreat, you're going to send in a performance song. The four of us will take a day and we'll just order a lot of food, watch through all the videos, and do a video response, kind of showcasing things that we loved and things that we can give tips on what to focus on to get you to where you want to be on that. So we're super excited. Plus, then what is it, 6
The
workshops?
other thing too about this particular thing is that it's going to be a very intimate experience, and we expect that, and we are really thrilled to be able to work with, there's going to be some time to do almost individualized time with the teachers. We're actually going to be doing, Jake and Herb are going to be here with us. And so there's going to be some classes that we actually have the two teachers, similar how we do our live streams. And there's going to be some where it's all four of us. There's going to be a lot of sort of panel discussions. Well, not a lot of, there's one section of panel discussions where we open it up and everyone can ask questions of all of us. But then there's going to be other times when you also will be able to ask questions individually. And I think that's also something else that's going to make this pretty incredible.
I mean, I'm just excited because how many chances do we get for us even to just spend all weekend with Jake and Herb and ask them questions about everything.
Because the great thing is we'll get to learn too. That's what I'm really excited about is, it's not just you guys who'll be learning. It's going to be us too. And anytime we get to kind of pick their brains, it's always amazing. Both of them are such a wealth of knowledge. And I'm going to turn down my computer noise so you don't hear every time that we receive an email. So give me one quick second.
Yeah, so things, super exciting. We're still, did we go live for our March retreat yet?
No. No, we need to actually talk to Marian first.
Okay, so we do have, I think, dates laid out for our in-person Hawaii retreat.
But don't say them yet because I don't think the people who have signed up know those dates yet. Oh. So let's let them know the dates first. So that's why we'll wait on that.
Another question we had is, Well, we actually had a bunch of emails saying, "When is the next live stream? When is the next live stream?" I'm sorry, May was super busy with the Ukulele Festival Hawaii stuff. Plus, we did the Jazz Fest
Yes.
with Diane and Adrian and Neo, and then last month was the International Spotlight for Ukulele Festival Hawaii, and that just completely drained us. So thank you guys for your patience, but we're back at it. We should be doing one a month from here out, at least to the end of the year. We'll see where things kind of lie at that point. But we have so much fun with these things, and thank you guys for all of your support. We had so many fantastic donations, and if you guys purchase packets, that all goes to help. So thank you guys so very, very much.
Yes.
There was a question about the diaper package for this month. Did you want to talk a little bit about that?
So the diaper package for this month, we have got a chord melody for a song that sounds very similar to yesterday. So that's that, and there's going to actually be a video that it will be emailed out to everyone. The link to the video will be emailed out to everyone by July 3rd. And it's going to be me going through that chord melody arrangement, and also I'm gonna also kind of insert other ideas, like, oh, you could play it like this, or you could play it like this. So for those of you that did the Diaper Club package for our Valentine's one, I did a video like that for The Way You Look Tonight. So it's not just me playing through the song. I also kind of go through and teach a little bit, and then I'll play through the song so that you have the whole thing. So that is what is in the Diaper Club. It's a song that sounds very similar to yesterday. It's in the spirit of yesterday. So and then somebody had a question about, will there be breaks during the virtual retreat? Yes, of
So
course.
there will be a couple breaks throughout the big days. Saturday, Sunday will be pretty much full days. Hawaii time, we're looking around 7 to 3 ish. The Friday will be half day, so if people are still working on the mainland, they can still be there for that. But the great thing is that everything will be recorded.
Yep.
So even if you have something like a doctor's appointment for a couple hours, you can skip that session and then rewatch it. I think we'll have access to everything for about a year for people who signed up. There was a question about, could we make the faculty concert live to the public? And we brought that up with the rest of the gang, and I think we wanted to keep everything together in the sense where like a retreat.
Yeah.
They wanted to keep it within the retreat itself, and it's gonna be a really special. And so sorry, I actually honestly thought we were gonna lean the other way at first, but after much discussion on that, I think I agree with them, keeping that as intimate and special as possible. So sorry for those who wanted to join us just for that concert.
And somebody had asked about the festival t-shirt that I'm wearing. So they're not on sale on the website currently because the pre-sales just ended. We will have them up for sale again, I think the week prior to the festival. But it would be on the Ukulele Festival, so ukulelefestivalhawaii.org, and then just click on store. So there is that. Yeah, I think that was the other question. And somebody said, how long is this going to be today? Probably a little over an hour. It might be an hour and a half. It kind of depends on how long it takes us to get through some of the various parts. And then just want to make sure I got all the questions that I saw pop up. I think I did for that. Yeah. So.
Nice. And the other thing I wanted to bring up too is that we had some really great emails actually in the past month. Some of the emails have been actually talking about how they just got into the ukulele and they're just intimidated by what you can do with it. And again, the ukulele is going to be as easy or as hard as you want it to be. It shouldn't be stressful, so a lot of times we always try to jump too far ahead, and again, just like anything else in life, you have to take it step by step. Don't try to rush into things. I know it looks it's so addicting. Like as soon as you learn a little bit more, you want to just do everything with it, and I totally get it.
Yeah.
But again, this is where a lot of bad habits can be formed, and things that can actually prevent you from playing in a healthy way down the road. So please, take your time with it, set achievable goals, and if you do need any help with that, or you're just completely lost, feel free to send us an email, and I can at least help you kind of get on the right track, because we want to see more people pick up the ukulele. We want to see more people continue and have fun with it. So don't stress at all. There's so many great communities and forums, and so we'll hook you up with a lot of resources on that side of it. But just keep at it. Do
Yeah.
fine. All right. Is there any other questions? All right. I think we're officially gonna start.
Woohoo! Nice. Well, aloha everybody, and welcome. It's great to have another live stream, and to see so many wonderful familiar. I was going to say familiar faces, but familiar names in the chat. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. We're going to take a look at the song Yesterday, and what I had mentioned earlier during our sound check is we're going to kind of look at the sort of original song and go through chords for it. Then we're going to do some substitution chords, all fairly. I try not to do anything too crazy with the substitutions. And then after that, we're going to take a dive into kind of change. We'll look at the original feeling of the piece and sort of the original kind of strumming pattern and things that you hear in the recording. And then we're going to change things up and make the song feel like a completely different tune, just to show you more sort of right hand technique things that you can do, creating syncopation. And we're even going to change the time signature on this song too, because why not, And just to also kind of show you how you can do this. The idea of this is to show you how you can do this to other songs you know and love. It's not necessarily it has to be this one. We're just using this one as our example. So let's just get to it and start playing the tune. Page 1 of our packet. So chords are pretty easy. Go looking at it. Everything I kept in first position. And some of these might not be the chords that you use, because you'll find that this song, people have done all kinds of different chords and things, and we'll probably end up getting to the chords you use if you're like, oh, I don't just use E minor, I use, E minor 7. We'll get there. So I'm just going to play super, super, super basic for this one right now. Okay, so get your F ready. Where is Cameron today? Oh, Cameron is currently with his grandparents having a great time. He might make an appearance, we'll see. And yes, he is walking and running. He's a blast. So, all right. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yesterday. E minor. A7. All my troubles seem so far away. B minor or B flat. Now it seems as though they're F here to stay. O D minor, G7, B flat, then F again. A section. Suddenly E minor. I'm not half the man I used to be. B flat, there's a shadow hanging over me. O D minor, G7, B flat, and then F to the B section, E minor. Why she, D minor, had C to B flat. I don't see 7, she wouldn't F say. E minor. I said 1 beat, D minor, something C, and then B flat, C7 to yester F day. A section, yesterday. E minor. All my troubles seem so far B flat. Now it looks as though they're here to stay. Oh, D minor, G7, do yesterday. Play the D minor, G7, and then B flat, yesterday. I threw in adding that at the very end. That's just the very base of the song. Now you'll notice that I have some things highlighted in yellow. And the reason they are highlighted in yellow is I'm trying to tell you that that chord lasts one beat. Because I'm using a box chart, this was the easiest way for me to represent that. Now, in measure 3, where it has D minor and D minor slash C, you can play D minor the whole time, which is what I did. Same with, on the second line, that F slash E, I just continued playing F that whole time. You can totally do that and no one will be the wiser, because slash chords usually mean that they want that note to be played in the bass. So your bass player is really the one making the big difference there. Now, what I did do though, is you'll notice that in both of those measures, I have a yellow dot listed. And you have the option of removing that dot during that one beat if you would like. So you'll notice that in measure 3, that D minor slash C, you can just and remove it and you have that low C note. And it looks shockingly like an F chord. If you didn't want to do that, let's say you didn't want to add it in the lowest note, you could actually add it as a high note, and which means that you could actually add it, and I'll write it down in a second, you can actually add it to the 3rd fret of the A string if you wanted, and actually stick that C note here if you wanted to show that change on your uke, especially if you're playing by yourself. This puts the C note higher and makes this chord a D minor 7 that I'm holding, which is 2, 2, 1, 3, okay? So that's just something to keep in mind, that you can do this, or you can play what's going to look like an F and put it down low. It's just happening for one beat, and we're going to end up actually using the C string later when we actually start picking that bass line. Then if you look at that second line, the F slash E, what we're doing here is you're going to take this F chord and then remove and have an open E string, which it looks like an A minor chord, but we're actually just playing the F chord and removing that F note so that we have that E note happening. Again, trying to replicate that bass, right? And it's only for one beat. Looking at the B section, you saw and heard that I said D minor is one beat, C is one beat, but that B flat is 2 beats, okay? Making sure everyone's, it looks like we're all on the same page, so I think we're good there. So let's go ahead and just move forward instead of going over that one more time. I think that'll be okay. Everybody all right? Hopefully everyone's going, yes. So I'm going to just move forward so that we can talk a little bit about some of the popular substitutions. So a lot of times, for many of you guys who are joining us today, I know have followed Craig and I and have done a lot of our live streams. And one of the big sort of themes that has happened with many of those is chord substitutions, where if you have a major chord, you can make it any version of a major chord. So for example, I could play, instead of F, I could play F major 7 sometimes, or an F6, or even in this case, we're going to make it an F add 9, which actually makes it a super easy chord. And doing that helps add another colorful harmony note to the party that wasn't there before, and it makes, I feel like it can make a song more interesting sometimes. Sometimes you want just the regular triads, but I really like having some substitutions. And so, let's see here, were the 2 options. So the very first page, sorry, I'm just looking at a question someone had. The very first page just had our bass song. I'm now on page 2 where I'm going to talk about some of the popular substitutions now. So we are going, so for your major chord, it could be major 7, major 6. I could make it a major 9 if I wanted, or for in this case, I'm going to do an add 9 in some places. You'll see me also make some major chords like the B flat. I will end up making that a B flat 6 instead, because I like the sound of that chord, and it's easier than a regular B flat. So there's that. Also, for minor chords, sometimes I prefer making the minor 7 chords instead. Those sound nice with your neighbor, and they're a lot of times easier than the original minor. So for example, instead of playing F to the E minor, then I could just do, if I was playing a regular F, E minor 7 is so easy. It's just open 2, open 2. So much easier, right? And then to the A7, very, very easy. So that is something that, you know, a lot of times if I can get away with it, I'll play E minor 7 instead of a regular standard E minor chord. Now, you'll notice in measure 3, I didn't make it a D minor 7, but you certainly could if you really wanted to. I actually wanted to just leave it as is, and that was just a personal choice. And then I made it a D minor 7 on the second line, next measure in. I did D minor 7, and then for my dominant chord, I made it a G, instead of G7, I made it a G9 chord. You can play either one. I liked making it a G9 because it meant that I worked less. I just moved one finger down in pitch. So from D minor 7, which is 2, 2, 1, 3, I just scooted the pinky down in pitch. Now I'm at G9 instead of doing D minor 7 to G7, which is me moving more fingers than necessary. But if you prefer the sound of G7, not a problem. All right. And so we're just focusing on an A section right now. So let's go through and just play this first one, and we'll do the repeat sign too. So let's play that F add 9. Isn't that pretty with that G note in there? And the great thing is, yes, that's actually your first note. Yesterday, E minor 7. All my troubles seem so far away. You can lift a finger if you want. B flat. Now it looks as though they're here to stay. You can lift it if you want. Oh, I believe in yesterday. And we'll start again. Suddenly, E minor. I'm not half the man I used to be. Lift a finger if you want. B flat. There's a shadow hanging over me. Lift a finger if you want. Oh, I believe. G9 in yesterday. Wasn't that pretty? And it's a small change, just a couple of small changes. But I just think it sounds really lovely. F add 9s are so gorgeous. Okay, let's continue. At the next variation that I've given you on the same page, you'll notice that I actually have us making a small change on that fourth measure, which is that B flat 6. And I have us actually taking the same shape and moving up to the 3rd fret. That's why there's that red 3 there. It's letting you know that's the 3rd fret. So instead of C7, I'm making it a regular C chord. And that's something that you can do if you would like. If you have a dominant 7 chord, you can actually take away its dominant 7 note and play the major triad. So basically, a dominant 7 chord, or C7 in this case, is made up, it's created from a major chord. So all you're doing is actually simplifying the chord and making it just a plain Jane major chord. That's all you're doing. So I like this because I like hearing that whole step movement going from here and then coming up to 2 frets to the 3rd. I think it's a really pretty sound. And then if you wanted to stay up in this area and not just go back down, I've given you the options here of holding I should start on the G string like I always do. Open 5, 5, and 3. Here is an F add 9, just in another place. 3rd fret area, so you don't have to jump anywhere when you go from the C to then the F add 9. And you'll notice that on the C string, that's the note that's going to move. So it's, and then that note moves down to the 4th fret. There. So that is, and technically, I forgot to change the name of the chord in our little, it shouldn't say F add 9 for the second one. It should say F major 9. So let me actually do this real fast. And you can correct your hand out. Oh, that's right. I can't do that on this one. I have to actually. So let me go. Whoop. Major 9. I'll zoom back out. There we go. So it should be a F major 9 when you make this move for that. And then I move down to D minor, except I'm making it a D minor 7, adding my pinky. And then the rest was the same as above. Let's go through and do this one. It's really pretty. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Let me start again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yesterday, E minor. All my troubles seem so far away. You can take away a note if you want. Move this up. Now it seems as though they're here to stay. And then move that note down. Oh, I believe in yesterday. Let's repeat it. And suddenly, E minor. I'm not half the man I used to be. Take the note away if you want. There's move it up, hanging over me. Sorry, move the note down. Oh, yesterday, that's the correct words, came suddenly. Nice, yeah. I actually really like that movement on this string because you're also getting it leading you down, because that's what's happening, is you're actually having that in the bass for that part of the song. And I like hearing that happen on one string because the timbre of the notes don't change, which is really, really nice. So, yay! So there's that. How's everybody feeling? I think it's sounding really, really pretty. And right now, of course, I'm just strumming super basic, right? Because I'm just going, as Craig and I like to do, when you're working on one hand, you keep this hand simple and vice versa. Though we might actually be doing fancy things with both hands today. We'll see. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to talk about inserting a chord and kind of jazzing things up. So this is a trick that you can do to any song. If you notice that they're in a song that you're holding a 5 chord and you're going to the 1, but the 5 chord is held for 4 beats or longer, sometimes you can change things up by adding the 2 of the key you're in. Now I'm going to get into that in just a second. We are in the key of F, right? So you'll see here. So I wrote out our F scale and just looking, and I wrote numbers underneath the letters that are in our F scale. And so if I was just going purely by numbers and looking at the letter that corresponds with the number, if I said 5 chord, you'd say, oh, it's some kind of C, because there it is, right? And highlighted in green for you. Whoops, let me get my pencil right here. So there's my 5. And then my 1, of course, is this guy. So if I see somewhere in my song that I have a C or a C7 leading me to an F chord, I can make this substitution usually, and it sounds okay. And so that's going to be here in my B section. So I'm actually moving on to the B section for a little bit. I have a C7 for 4 beats hanging out, going to an F. So I can sometimes add the 2 chord, which is this G, and usually the 2 chord is a minor chord. That's just one of those rules from music theory, is your 2 chords typically a minor. So we're going to add a G minor to this section here. And it's going to be real fast. So underneath here is where you can see where I've added the 2. So now there's a G minor for 2 beats, followed by the C7 for 2 beats, and then the 1. Now it could be F add 9, it could be just a standard F. I just was making things fancy down here at the bottom for fun. But this is something that you can totally do to other songs as well. The only time it wouldn't be able to work is if it clashes with your melody. It shouldn't, but if in the event you're hearing it and you think it sounds bad, don't play it. But you can sometimes insert a 2-5 if you know it's resolving to the 1. If it's not resolving to the 1, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But generally, I would say 90% of the time, it's going to work as long as you're resolving. So let's actually play the top one first, and then we're going to play the one underneath it. So E minor, just a standard E minor, and we're going to play just our plain Jane chords in this top one. So this is the Why She Had to Go. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Why she, 1 beat, had to, 2 beats. I don't, 4 beats of C7, G wouldn't, F say. And then again E minor, I said 1 beat, something 2 beats wrong. Now I long for yesterday. That sounds great. That's pretty standard. Let's play the other one, and we're going to switch to E minor 7s and all of that good stuff. Now, one thing I want you to notice is in the second measure, we're actually going to go from D minor up to the 3rd fret, to that C, and then move it down. So keep that in mind. Okay, if something goes awry and you can't get to that 3rd fret for that 1 beat of C, don't worry about it. Just play regular C. It'll be fine, and you can always go back and practice making that jump from D minor up to the C. One little thing, if you don't mind doing a close-up of my hand, one little thing that might help you with that, with being successful there, is if I hold D minor and I just take my index and flatten it, I actually could literally just remove my finger from the G string and move this up. This feels a bit awkward for me. So what I'm going to actually do is D minor, flatten my finger, and just have this finger hop over and I slide up. So that's D minor, flatten my index, and then move it up. I find because this finger is already on the correct string, all I have to do is just boop and have that come up to make the C. Cool. Thanks, Craig, for letting me do that. So hopefully that's a quick tip so that you can get through that. So let's give this a shot. 1, 2, 3, 4. Why she, 1 beat, had to go. 2 beats of G minor, C7, and an F add 9. Do that again. I said D minor, something wrong. Now I long 2 beats for yesterday. And then yesterday. So you can hear G minor, C7, F. It resolves really nicely versus playing C for 4 beats, which sounds fine too. So that's something, again, you can add to any song, but I wanted to show you it in this because it creates this really pretty 4th movement that always has a really nice resolve. Now, typically when I play this song, I don't actually play that G minor C7. I tend to just play the C7 the whole time, but it does sound really nice. So I'm going to continue forward. Awesome. Ah, yes. Also, there's even more substitutions you can do where you can play chords in different places. So what I have done here is I have actually given us a little bit more kind of movement happening in this section. So the first measures, this is totally the same and easy to go. Then D minor, that's the same. But now I'm having us play G minor 7, which is up here. 3, 5, 3, 5. And then I'm just taking my ring finger and scooting it down in pitch to that just one fret there, so that I'm playing a C9 chord. So let's just try this finger hop with me, where I've got 3, 5, 3, 5, scoot that finger down.
Yeah, that should look very familiar to our artist work students.
Yeah.
That kind of individual finger control.
Just this one finger, all he's got to do. And he doesn't even have to hop, he can just slide. Then what we're going to do is we're going to move up to that F major 7 chord. So instead of the F add 9, I'm going to this F major 7 because for me it's about economics. I'm going to take these 2 fingers off, flatten my index. I'm holding now with my pinky on the 5th fret and my index on the 3rd, and I'm literally going to go slide it up so that I am on the 5th and the 7th fret. Like that. So to me, going from here to here is super easy when you're used to doing these kinds of bar chords. So let's try that one more time. So I've got the G minor 7, moving that finger down, flatten my index to make the bar as I slide up, to do that 2-5-1 sequence there. And then instead of jumping back down to the 1st fret, I'm going to play E minor 7 on the 3rd fret, which looks like that D minor 7 we did actually, but on the 3rd fret. So I'm holding 4, 4, 3, and 5. And then I'm just going to play an A9 instead of the A7, which is just moving that pinky down. And then I'm going to play D minor 7. There we go. So that I am, playing that same kind of, or it's the same pattern. And then luckily for the 1 beats, you have, and I'm already holding the C, yay, to the B flat in that area. So that's the sort of movement that I'm adding there. I'm going to go through and play it through for you. And you can join me if you want on this round, but then I'll play it a second time so that if you would like to join me on that one, you can. I'm going to double check my tuning first, actually, because now that we don't have the AC on, I think I might have. Yeah, I thought so. Sorry, gang. This will just take me a second. I was going sharp. Yeah. There we go. So I'm just going to go through kind of slowly through it. So we have 2, 3, 4. I said something wrong. Oh, sorry. That wasn't the right words. Sorry. E minor, A7, D minor, C, B flat, up to the 3rd and 5th fret, and move 1 finger, she wouldn't say. 3rd fret, and then move your pinky down. Something, yay, wrong, now I long for yesterday. Let's do it one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Why she had to go. I don't 3rd and 5th fret. She wouldn't move it up. And then 3rd fret. I move your pinky. said D minor, something wrong. Now I long for yesterday. So this variation I like for a couple of reasons. One is that you get to play in other positions, which is always neat. But I also like that your ending phrase for the top, that F major 7, is different from the other F. And I like, especially with what's being said in the lyrics, I like the F major 7, I feel sounds more sad and thoughtful. And I like having that at the end of that verses phrase, whereas then the other song, it's a little more open and airy, which I like for the end of that phrase melodically. So that's also something to think about, is what are the words being said and how can you support the words being said as well as supporting the notes that are being played. That's something that when you're arranging, it's always good to kind of think about. The other thing I also like about this is I really do enjoy that G minor 7 C9, because I like having that note staying the same during that measure. I just think it, for me at any rate, it adds to that tension that's happening in that first line. So just things to think about as you are working on your own arrangements. So I thought that one's really pretty. So how's everybody doing? Everybody's G minor 7's too hard of a stretch. I'm sorry, Bonnie. You know what? I get that. It's one thing that you can do if you are having trouble with this particular stretch is actually, and it's also harder because the frets are farther apart down here, right? So if you even practice starting up here at say the 10th and the 12th fret, and you take your ring and your pinky and you scoot it down, making a diminished chord. Take your index and middle, move it down, and then just you're scooting everybody kind of down, working slowly on the stretch as the frets get bigger. And also I sometimes find just practicing back and forth with this stretch, even on the 5th and 7th fret, going back and forth, going from a diminished shape, moving up, diminished shape, moving up, and then taking it and moving that down the neck. Again, warming up the fingers and getting them used to the stretch, because it is a hard one.
Okay, I'm going to do one quick thing on that too. Let me switch this. For this particular type of chord shape, there's usually a telltale sign of why that stretch seems harder than it should be. And a lot of it has to do, with how we're gripping that left hand. Usually, if you're having trouble with this shape, it's typically either because our wrist ends up being way out here, and this guy is kind of flattening out, this guy is flattening out, and it's just, look how far my finger has to stretch. Or we're stretching this way. If you watch how we play this chord, if we're going from like a diminished chord, which is a smaller version of that 3-4-3-4, and I have everything kind of nice and tight, squished in, and all I have to do is then work on kind of stretching that out. But look how nothing else in my hand is changing. My wrist is staying nice and straight. Everything feels really close to the fretboard. Because again, the farther we get away from the fretboard, the more those fingers want to collapse. It's very hard, and especially if we come around like this, we lose a lot of that leverage. Again, thinking about it as kind of making a fist, right? These are huge muscles that we're utilizing, and same thing here when we're in the small form. We have all of those muscles helping support that shape. And then when we extend it, again, because of how close we are here, this shouldn't be that much of a stretch compared to when our hand is kind of out more. So definitely, one way, like Sarah says, is start where the frets are smaller together, or you can also start with that small diminished shape and then just work on, not even pressing hard, but just working on the stretch of moving these two guys up without necessarily moving everything else with it. But a lot of it has to do with how close we are to keeping those fingers near that fretboard. So hope that helped.
Yeah. Thank you for saying something, because it's always good, because then we can interject and give all of those great ways that you can work on practicing it so that then you can do it. So let's talk a little bit about the strumming for the G minor. Oh, but before that, for the G minor 7, can you bar it? Yes, you may. You may absolutely bar it. So the question was, instead of using 4 fingers, can I bar? Yes, you totally can. I have a lot of trouble doing it this way, which is why I don't. And also I find that for certain chord changes, especially if I'm going down to say an F6 from that shape, it's for me better to have all 4 fingers. But absolutely, there's more than one way you can play this. So yes, if you would rather do a bar, you certainly may for both the G minor 7 and the C9. Is there sheet music with lyrics? Not there. We do not have sheet music with lyrics for this one. No. You can purchase them online. There's all kinds of online resources for getting the music, but our packet has no lyrics and no melody lines because we aren't working with those today. But thank you for asking that question. Can you show the hand position for D minor 7, Craig? Positioning tips.
Oh, for the bass version of D minor 7?
Yeah, I think the first position version of it. Yeah.
Not a problem. My pleasure. So, for D minor 7, what the bass chord that it revolves around is that F major triad, right? The F chord. And part of this too is again we talk about the left hand position. If our wrist is already out like this, it gets much harder to add those fingers down. Again, thinking of that resting spot here that we talk about in our other live streams. Between my index and my
no
thumb.
sound.
Oh, sorry. Sorry about that. Between my index and thumb, this is really where this kind of support is going to be revolving around. This whole D minor 7 shape is based off of that F major chord. So from here, again, that nice straight wrist, I have a big puka here, or opening. So from here, I can have that nice curl going diagonal across the white bar, and then middle finger can just drop to that G string. Now the reason why this works so well, especially when we add 1 finger at a time for my D minor, notice how because of this angle, I have so much room now to put my ring finger for that D minor. Compared to if they're all up and down this way, see how these two guys want to fight over that fret? So from here, letting it rest, straight wrist, thumb, just a little bit of thumb hanging over. And again, not squeezing really hard. Index comes across, middle finger comes across. Look at all that space for that ring finger. And then my pinky, look how close this is here. And I have tons of space to bring that pinky down and even slide it down for that G9. So D minor 7 to G9. And look how everything is nice and tight there compared to being much more spread out. And again, there's no right or wrong, but for me, this has worked really well in keeping my hands nimble and having more leverage to play from. So again, basing it off that F chord, having space for that ring finger for the D minor, and being able to just drop my pinky for that D minor 7 or even to that G9. Okay. Hopefully that answered your question.
Awesome. So let's talk a little bit about the strumming now. So many times when you hear this song, I'm going to hold just a regular F chord. You're going to hear something that typically sounds like pick, strum, 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 pick, strum, strum, strum. And the way that it's broken down is we're playing all 8th notes. So it's going to so what we're going to do for now, I'm going to pluck the C string. Eventually, we're going to be plucking various strings. But for now, pluck the C string, and then I tend to do down strums. And that's your phrase. Pick, strum, strum, strum. Pick, strum, strum, strum. So let's do that a little bit. Pick, strum, 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 C, strum, 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 C. Now I'm using my index to pick. You can use your thumb if you'd rather pick with your thumb, because some people are more comfortable with that. Now, this may feel super simple right now, but the song, if I remember right, is a little bit faster than that. It's more like, right? Yesterday, all my troubles seem so it's actually kind of fast when you do this, but if you're listening to the tune, that's the feeling that it has, right? And the other thing that's also happening in this, so right now what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to emulate all the instruments. And it's hard to do on the ukulele. So I'm basically taking the guitar part and the bass part and trying to kind of meld them together so that we can have some walk downs. And so one of the things that we're going to do is a pattern that gives us one of those walk downs. And that's going to be the one that's listed just at the bottom. So what I have us doing is I'm picking the D minor note. So I'm going to actually pick the root note of the chord, which happens to be on the C string. I'm going to do the 3 strums. The most simple version of it is on that 3rd beat, I'm going to pick that note again, let that ring for the full beat, lift up that finger, and pick just that C string that's open. That would sound like this. 1 and 2 and 3. Sorry. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Let's do it together. I'm going to go slower. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Pick first. 1 and 2 and just pick. Just pick. Okay? If you wanted to, if you felt that you were up for it, you could actually add a there we go, a strum here if you wanted. But sometimes that's too fast for folks. If I did that, it would sound like this: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And when I do that last strum, I don't put this finger back. It stays gone. So again, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. You can do it either way. So keep that in mind for when we have that D minor, the D minor / C. Then we also have that same pattern happening during that F to, well, for us, I made it F9, add 9 to the F major 9 chord, where we're doing 1 and 2 and 3 and, sorry, I picked the wrong string. We're going to actually pick the E string for this F chord because I want us to actually pick the root of the chord. And that note is on the E string. So instead of picking the C string like we did for D minor, we're actually going to pick the E string. So it's this one. And then removing it. You can do the same thing like we did before where you can add a strum here. Again, that's optional. The most important thing is to play the series of sort of bass notes because that's really emphasized in the song. So again, plucking the E string. That's why I have that dot in red. And then let's do it maybe adding the strum if you'd like. Pick, strum, which you can certainly do. So now what I would like for us to do is go through and try to actually do the, I'll just call it the pick, strum, 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 the original strumming pattern. And we are going to, anytime that you see a red dot, let me do this real quick, and I'll just do in red. So anytime you see a red dot like this guy on the E string, or even this red line on that E string, those are the notes that you're going to pick. So for the very first measure, it's going to be the E string, 3 and 4 and then when you get to E minor, you're going to pluck that open E string. And then for the A7, you will pluck the C string. Then we have D minor. You're going to hold the D minor, pluck that C string, but we're going to do that second pattern where we have that walk down. The C string, strum, 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 pluck the C string, take away the note. Now we're going to hold the B flat, and I need you to actually hold the full B flat because the note that we need, the root note, is actually on your G string. This is one of the very few times in our workshops where if you play low G, you actually have the advantage of playing that lower note. So low G, folks, you're welcome. So for this one, we're going to pick the G string, then scoot up to the 3rd fret, which means that that note's also moving up, so that's where the C note that we have is. Then moving on to the next line, we're going to move down and we're going to pluck that E string. And then you've got the single note open. D minor 7, you pluck the C string because that's where the red dot is. And then G7, I need an open string. And then this one's where I keep it simple. Yesterday. And you can go, shoo, I made it. I'm only doing down strums in this particular one because that's what I hear when I hear the song being played, is I feel like they don't actually throw in the ups. However, you could do, you could do that if you wanted, adding the ups and downs. I prefer this sound. So that's something that you can kind of sort out for yourself as to if you want to have ups in there. I like it all with downs. I feel like it's also easier to, for me in my brain, it's a little easier to play, especially with adding in the picking. So the red dots, oh yes, the red dots might be kind of little on the screen, but if I zoom in, hopefully you see the red dots here. So they might be little, or if you have it printed out, it might be that, and I can zoom in on this so it's a little bit better. There we go, a little bit bigger for you. But also if you printed this and you didn't print in color, I'm sorry. So let's go through at a very nice tempo del lerno, trying to go through this, and I will try to, excuse me, go through it and call out when we have things. So right now we're going to pick the E string. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3. The E minor chord with the open E. Then the C string for the A7. D minor with the C string. But remember, we got to do the walk down with the open. B flat G. And move it up. And then the F with the walk down, F note, E string, D minor 7 with the C string, open G string, and then yesterday, one more time, suddenly, open E, A7 with the C note done, and the D, we've got the walk down, B flat with the G, there's move it up, and then the F note, we've got the walk down, F to the E, D minor with the C string, open G string, and yesterday. Woo! We made it! So if you play low G, this arrangement actually is going to sound really, really nice. It sounds nice with high G too, but you're not going to have the same sort of bass note feeling, and that is okay. But I figured I would throw in something fun for the low G players out there too. And I'm glad that, oh good, I'm glad that you guys are enjoying this so far. So that to me is sort of fairly close to the original feeling. Even during the bridge, underneath all of the beautiful violin, cello parts, they are still kind of keeping that same rhythm and pattern going. So you can continue this through the B section. I just, for the sake of time and so that we can get to other feels, I only went through an A section. So now we can actually go even more and kind of change things up. So I had us breaking things down as eighth notes, 1 and. The purple was to remind, sorry, thank you for that question. So the purple that's here, that was to remind you that it's this pattern. It's the walk down pattern. That was why I did that as a reminder, so that we would remember, oh, I need to do the walk down on this one and not just do the pick, strum, strum, strum the whole time. However, you can pick, strum, strum the whole time and no one will know and it will be just fine. But that was why I did the purple there. Thank you for asking that. It was just for reminding. Now, I think, was that the only question that I missed?
I think so.
Okay, great. So I was breaking things down for that particular one into eighth notes, which would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And you can break down the beats even further, making things 16th notes. But before I do that, if you want to do something super simple, you can pick playing on just the ands or pick playing on just the numbers, and that can change how things feel. For example, I'm going to actually play some of this only strumming on the ups or the and. So if I did 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and I only strummed when there was an and I only strummed up, it would sound more like this. Yesterday, all my troubles seem so far away. Now it looks as though they're here to stay. It has a very different feel from the. To me, that almost feels like, it almost feels reggae-ish. Like I could sing like Three Little Birds using that, where I'm only strumming ups. So even something that simple, you can do that. Or as we're about to do, we're going to make things more complicated and break things down even further, making things 16th notes, which is where you'll hear somebody say 1 E and 2 E and They're breaking down the beats to an even finer point for you. Are you picking the G string on the last two chords? On the last two chords, I am just strumming the full chord, saying yesterday. Just strumming, not doing any crazy picking on those, like I was for the rest of the song. Thanks for asking.
It is great to see Ruth and Teco as well.
Hi, gang.
Oh.
Awesome. So, Craig, do you want to take us through? We're making this have a more of an islandy.
All right, so let's do. All right, before we even look at the 1E and the 2E and the stuff, let's get rid of that for a second. I want you to repeat after me. We'll do boom diddy and boom diddy and boom diddy and boom diddy. So I know it sounds really funny. Just hopefully you're alone and you can be as loud as you want. But try to jump in with me. Boom diddy and boom diddy and boom diddy and boom diddy and. Good. A lot of times things get kind of lost in translation when you're trying to just replicate what you're seeing on the page instead of just feeling that rhythm. So a lot of times I always encourage students to say things out loud, especially when you're getting to some of that syncopation. It helps really internalize that rhythm first, and it makes all of this other stuff much more successful. So what we're going to do here, the boom is going to be the thumb on the C string. We'll hold our F chord for now. And we're going to make this super simple kind of to start. We're just going to use 3 fingers and we're just going to use 3 strings. So we're going to use the C string, the E string, and the A string. So the boom is going to be the thumb on the C string. For the diddy, we're going to use our bottom 2 fingers and our bottom 2 strings. So it's going to go boom diddy And for the and, we're gonna just pluck those same two strings, the same two fingers. So it's gonna sound like this. Boom, diddy, and 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 boom, diddy. Good. So isn't that much easier than trying to do 1 E and a 2 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and it's just a little bit easier. So let's try this now, starting slow, and we're gonna see how it changes once we add a little bit more speed as we get along. So it's gonna go boom diddy and 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 boom diddy. Not too bad, right? Now, that was the bass version, and already you can kind of feel that kind of change in that vibe. Now what we're going to do next is we're going to slowly add a few elements to make them a little bit harder. I think the next one is adding the mute. Is that correct, Sarah?
Yep.
All right, so what we're going to do here, if you have not seen my muting and scratching workshop, please go find it on our YouTube channel. It's such a fantastic resource for that. But what we're going to do here is we're going to do the boom diddy, and we're going to add the mute. So it's going to sound like this, boom diddy. So that's the only thing we're adding is the ring and pinky, just to stop the strings from vibrating. Boom diddy, and the and we're still going to let ring. So if we were to repeat that F chord, it's going to sound like this. Boom diddy, and 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 boom diddy. Now, I'm going to play through a little bit. I'm going to have Sarah sing a little bit. And then...
Do you want to do the...
No, I just want to do exactly what I just did. You ready?
Oh. No, I'm asking about which chords are you going to use? The ones at the
bottom. It doesn't matter.
Of
I just want to... just, can you sing with me, please?
Yep.
Thanks. So, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yesterday, all my troubles seem so far away. Now it looks as though they're here to stay. Oh, I believe in yesterday.
Because I know there's a lot of, again, as Sarah mentioned before, kind of focusing on one hand and then the next. Right now, we're just kind of showcasing you. Once you get that rhythm down, how to apply it to the chords that we know and love already. And you can experiment with the different variations that she's laid out earlier. But already how much that completely changed that feel of the song. And for me, it can be as simple as just utilizing those 3 strings. You don't need much more than that. But part of what makes this very unique and special is that one single mute. Because it gives it almost like it builds that character. I hate using that, it builds character. No, it really does add that's having that space. Now, you can, again, be a little bit trickier. You can mute the last hit as well, like boom, diddy. But totally up to you. Again, taking things one tiny step at a time. It's nice to be able to have all these variations and not just master one version of it, right? Now,
all 4 strings, I think you had mentioned.
Perfect. So if you wanted a little bit more full sound, especially for those low G players, you can do, let's say, your pluck with your index this time, and then just pinch all 4 strings. Even with or without the mutes. or you can add those mutes in. Another version of this is doing that right hand mute kind of thing where you're going to actually touch the strings right after you pinch them. So you don't have to mute with that left hand at all. So again, there's so many different ways of achieving similar effects. And for us, I love being versatile so that you can, depending on what's going on in context, you might want to mute with your left, you might want to mute with your right. It all kind of depends. So having all these different tools is going to give you as many options as possible.
And then there's the one with the up on the A.
So, this adding strum, the whole strum still first?
Yeah.
So if you wanted even more sound, and almost emulating like a electric guitar, we could do, thumb, down, up, rest, down, thumb, rest, down, thumb, down, up, rest, down. But again, to get more of that kind of islandy vibe, what we're gonna do is, there's a lot of sound on that down up, right? So one little trick to really emphasize what's important and give just enough of sound to have that space is we'll do the thumb, and then for the down up, I'm only gonna hit the A string on the way up. So this is the difference. Here's my full up. Now here's with that single A note instead of the whole up. It gives a little bit more space. It's not as much, sound coming out at you. So to me, I love doing things like that to help really kind of still have some presence in that slot, but not overwhelmingly so. All right, so definitely experiment. What is the hit? Well, I'm not sure what the question is. Oh, the hits, the so adding Chord, it's the thumb. So those two hits there with the E and the A, that's where that mute was falling on. Okay, and the next version
His Fancy Pants version.
Now, again, utilizing a lot of things that we use in our other streams, being able to mix and match, being able to create a completely different vibe. What we're going to do here is we're going to do, and again, if you have your pack, this is going to take some time. Even for me, it was fun to kind of put this together. But what we're going to do, we're going to do an open hand strum on the way down. And then we're going to hammer on that F chord. So down, hammer, down, hammer. Then we're going to have a thumb on the G string. Down, hammer, thumb, down, hammer, thumb, down, hammer, thumb. Then we're going to come up. And then down. Down, hammer, thumb, up, down. Down, hammer, thumb, up, down. And down, hammer, thumb, up, down. And down, hammer, thumb, up, down. And down, hammer, thumb, up, down. So from there, we're going to add all that. Now, breaking
Now,
that
also,
down. Yep.
real quick, for those of you that like looking at music notation, you can always refer to page 10. It's the first pattern in that music notation, but don't flip to it yet. Just follow Craig right now.
So again, repeat after me. Down, hammer, thumb. Wait. Down, hammer, thumb.
Up, down.
Down, hammer, thumb. Down, hammer, thumb, up, down. 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 And down, hammer, thumb, up, down. And down, hammer, thumb, up, down. second section, we're going to do, the pickup is the thumb. So all we're going to do is adding a thumb up. Down, hammer, thumb, up, down, thumb, up. Rest, 2, 3, 4. Down, hammer, thumb, up, down, thumb, up. Rest, 2, 3, 4. Down, hammer, thumb, up, down, thumb, up. Rest, 2, 3, 4. Down, hammer, thumb, up, down, thumb, up. Rest. Last time, here we go. Down, hammer, thumb, up, down, thumb, up. Good. Now, okay. Down, hammer, thumb, up, down, thumb, up, down. Down, hammer, thumb, up, down, thumb, up, down. Again. Down, hammer, thumb, up, down, thumb, up, down. Last time. Down, hammer, thumb, up, down, thumb, up, down. Now, the last 4 are literally just down, up, down, up. But you could do a thumb on the 4 if you wanted. Again, just to add, again, we talked about having a little bit more space, but this whole last part, 4E anda, is going to be really light in comparison to the rest. It's going to sound like this. So pretty much anytime you see a thumb, you could replace that with the down, and it would sound great. And so all the thumb is really doing is just helping alleviate some of that extra sound. And to me, it just that change alone completely gives you a little bit more space, especially if you're singing with that. So in combination of everything, yesterday,
all my troubles seem so far away. Now it looks as though they're here to stay. Oh,
so there, the first measure and the third measure, when we have one chord throughout the measure, that pattern is what I'm relying on. For the change from like E minor 7 to A7 is going to be a little bit simpler. But again, written out there, down, down, up, down, thumb, up, down, down, up, down, up. Down, thumb, up, down, thumb, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, thumb, up, down, thumb, up, down, down, up, down, up. Now, the beautiful thing is that even though it seems very complicated, if you watch what my right hand is doing, the entire time it's doing this. Anytime we're doing a thumb, I could replace that with a downstroke. When I'm doing my ups, so for example, down, thumb, up, down, thumb, up, down, down, up, down, up. This does not change at all. So they rely on this kind of metronome to help you get that rhythm down. Down, thumb, up, down, thumb, up, down, down, up, down, thumb, up, down, thumb, up, down, down, up, down, up. So again, a lot of these seemingly complicated things fall right into place of a straight rhythm, and we're just choosing whether to hit the string, let it rest, or use a thumb instead of a full down in this particular case but it all relies on keeping that super consistent with that right hand.
And one thing that you can actually do with what we have laid out on the paper, even though I don't have all of the thumb and the hammers written out, is if you just want to focus on only playing what's highlighted, for example, I'm just going to hold an F chord and I'm just going to do 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and if I only play what's highlighted, I actually get the bass rhythm that Craig is talking about. And if you need to just practice working only on getting that bass rhythm of what you're getting before you add all the fancy stuff and the intricate stuff that he's talking about, you can just spend time looking at the paper, just 1 E and being mechanical too, like just making sure it's like, because it's all down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. You're just letting specific downs and ups ring, as Craig mentioned. So that's just like pro tip for if you're practicing and wanting to achieve the stuff that Craig is doing. If you're having trouble getting there, get the rhythm in this hand first without doing the thumb and all of that stuff. Then you can start adding the thumb later once you feel like you got it. Then you can add the hammer on after that. Again, one hand at a time.
Yeah, again, we want to make sure you had something
Yes.
a little bit tricky to kind of work towards when you utilize everything from the packet. But let's do a little bit more of that one more time to kind of showcase how that sounds.
I like how this one sounds. Yesterday, all my troubles seemed so far away. Now it looks as though they're here to stay. Oh, I believe in yesterday. Yeah.
Okay, so again, that kind of stuff we can easily break down, but part of it right now is getting that rhythm and being able to isolate. Again, if you can break what's in that green, just getting that down first. Down, hammer, thumb, up, down. Down, hammer, thumb, up, down. And even if you want to just hammer on the F add 9 chord, just that index finger. That sounds really pretty as well. But again, the trick is say these things out loud. It helps internalize that rhythm and makes everything else fall into place much, much, much easier. I promise.
Yay.
Yeah, fun.
This sounds really pretty. I really like that version of it. And so, again, I actually do have music notation written out of the variations
Can you
that
show
we've
that
been
real
doing.
quick?
Oh, yeah, sure. Wee! Example rhythms. So I have our original pattern on the first line, right? That's all broken down. It's just the first 4 measures. Same with your reggae pattern, which is actually done on 2 different lines. This is the reggae pattern's actually these.
Well, remember that reggae pattern is so much fun too. That boom,
Da da
diddy,
da
boom,
da da.
diddy, and boom.
Yeah.
We need to do a island version of that.
Yes.
Try to sing it a little bit.
yeah.
I forgot how to.
2, 3, 4. Yesterday, all my troubles seem so far away. Now it seems as though they're here to stay. Oh, I believe in yesterday. Right? So that's that island reggae pattern, right?
That's so much
I
fun.
love it. And then, we have the one where Craig did the same thing, but he did an upstroke on the A instead of doing all of the hits, right? Then you've got the intricate pattern here on page 10. Now, I did realize there was a boo-boo in my handout where you'll see it highlighted in yellow in measures 13 and 15, where there should be hammer-ons on the G string too, if you're doing the version of it where you're playing the full F chord. And that's the intricate pattern that he was going over just now. And then it has the waltz stuff that I'm about to go over coming up next, because we're gonna just change the song up and make it be not in 4/4 time anymore,
Let's do it.
because we can, and it's fun. So, all right. Now that I've made everyone motion sick by scrolling so fast, let's talk about time. So you can totally change up time signatures on songs. You don't have to play them like how they are. And to me, one of the easiest ways to kind of venture out of common time, as it's called, the 4/4 time, is making something a waltz. And a standard waltz is what we're going to start with. Generally speaking, if you are going to make a song go from 4/4 to 3/4, if this chord lasted for 4 beats originally, usually it ends up becoming 2 measures of 3 beats. So it ends up becoming 6 beats. So my F chord lasted for 4 beats when I was in 4/4 time, but now it's actually going to become 2 measures of 3, or 6 beats. And then if you have chords that are 2 beats in length in 4/4 time, most of the time it will become 1 full measure of 3 beats. This is sort of the fast and dirty way of making a 4/4 song go to the waltz time. Now, if I have a chord that's 1 beat, that actually usually just stays the same, and it's just the 1 beat in 3/4 time as well. Now, what on earth do I mean when I say waltz in 3/4 time? The measures change in that instead of 4 beats, like 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm now just playing 3 beats. 1, 2, 3. So if you see a chord in the box, it is 3 beats. If you see 2 chords in a box, in this case, I have highlighted in yellow indicating that that only lasts for 1 beat, okay? So a typical waltz is going to have an emphasis on the first beat. So you hear 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I always think of like, you know, I always see ballroom dancing whenever I hear waltzes, and that's like my sort of go-to visual for a waltz. Or even pa 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 pa, right? That's the kind of stuff that I envision and think about when I hear a waltz. And so for this, you can do a couple of different things. For right now, I'm gonna just strum 3 times. And I'm gonna just use the chords that we have written out right now, and we'll go through this nice and slow. I'm not actually going, well, yeah, I can go ahead and remove the notes. So the highlighted notes, or the highlighted chord, that D minor / C, I will go ahead and lift my finger to have that note there, but I'm just gonna strum. I'm not actually gonna pick it. Same with the F add 9 to F major 9. I'm gonna strum it just so that we can get the time down. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yesterday. E minor. All my troubles seemed so far away. Lift up. Now 3rd fret looks as though they're here to stay. Lift up. Oh, I believe in yesterday.
Now, can you actually do super basic chords with the 3/4 time, just to really
Oh, yeah.
enhance without any of that?
Without the enhancements? Sure. Sorry, I got a little tickle in my throat. So I'm just going to play plain Jane. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yesterday. So I'm just playing an F, E minor. All my troubles seem so far away. B flat. Now it looks as though they're here to stay. Oh, I believe in yesterday. Right? All of a sudden, this song is a waltz. And I think it lends itself really nicely to being a waltz, actually. When I recorded this song years ago, that was probably Cameron. When I recorded this song years ago, I actually did it in 6/8 time on that album, now that I think about it, which is slightly different emphasis, but it's very similar to 3/4 time. Now, one thing that we can do is you could maybe strum the first beat hard and then the others quietly. So, right? Another thing you might hear folks do is pluck on the first beat. And if I did that, I'm going to just pluck the C string just to make things, again, simple. Right? And that also gives you that, feeling. And let's actually try that together on this one before we go changing things further. I'm only going to pluck the C string. I'm not going to worry about plucking root notes like we did in the original. And so we're just going to do a pick, strum, strum, but we're just going to pick that C string. I don't care if you use your index or your thumb. And the other thing with this, and I'm going to just use the fancy chords that are on the paper for right now, but pick whichever one you want to pluck with. I tend to use my index. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yesterday, E minor. All my troubles seem so far away. B flat. Now it looks as though they're here to stay. Oh, I believe in yesterday. Again, suddenly, E minor. I'm not half the man I used to be. B flat. There's a shadow hanging over me. Oh, yesterday came suddenly. Really pretty. And you can continue it, of course, through the bridge. Again, for the sake of time, I'm just showing you the A section. And it's really nice. I love having that waltz time. And you can take it another step for those of you that are hardcore jazz fans. Yes.
One more time, and then I'm going to lay over, for those who do play in groups or duos or trios, I'm just going to overlay some other voicings over that, because the beautiful thing about especially that waltz kind of vibe is that it leaves so much space.
It's nice.
So let's try one, if you don't mind, one more time through the form.
Do you want me to sing or do you? Okay. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Yesterday. All my troubles seem so far away. Now it looks as though they're here to stay. Oh, I believe in yesterday. Yeah, that was pretty, Craig. Thank you. I liked it. Nice. Yay, I'm so glad people are enjoying playing in 3/4 time. Yahoo! Nice. So, hardcore jazz fans, let's make this a jazz waltz rhythm. So for this one, we are going to, I know for the traditional waltz, we emphasized the first beat. But you will notice that the very first beat of this particular pattern is not there. And that's actually by design, because you're actually going to be emphasizing different beats. So what I did here was I showed you standard notation in those boxes, but then I also, for those of you that like just seeing the number written out, you have 1, 1, and this one also, is swinging eighths. That's the other thing that makes it different. So instead of that very steady 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and, we are actually swinging those eighth notes so that it has sort of it is actually a triplet of a quarter note followed by an eighth note. And so it's going to have more of a skip feel. So 1 and 2 and 3 and. The numbers feel ever so slightly longer than the ands do when you're counting in swing. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. Versus 1 and 2 and 3 and, where those are all exactly the same length amount of time. So I have highlighted with green what you'd actually play. And so it would be 1, 1 and 2, 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1. So let me just strum a plain Jane F doing that. I'm not going to do any mutes. I'm just going to strum. So we have 1 and 2 and 3 and 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 so I kept my hand continually moving, just like how Craig did for his a very intricate one. Because for this, keeping your hand moving allows you to be able to, if you accidentally play on the wrong beats, it's okay because you're still in time. So it allows for some quick and easy mistakes, and allows you to still keep that time consistent, because the rhythm of the song is the pulse, right? And you have a pulse, and if you lose your pulse, you cease to be, and so will the song. So if you can keep the pulse going, the song will not die. So keep that in mind when you are playing. So you can add mutes if you want. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and... So what I'm doing is I'm muting after the first one, and then after the down there. So I'm doing 1 and with the mute, and then up, down, and then muting for that. It doesn't matter to me which one you do. I like having the mute because it is going to sound more like what you would hear. But because if you're not used to doing the mutes and you're just trying to get the rhythm down, don't worry about it. Again, one hand at a time, because muting is involving this hand. And we're focusing on this hand right now, the strumming hand. So if you can't mute, don't worry about it. That's something you can practice and strive for later. So let's see if I can do this slowly with the jazz waltz. I think I can. So 1 and 2, sorry, 1 and 2 and 3. And... Okay, so I'm not going to mute. Here we go. Yesterday, all my troubles seem so far away. Now it seems as though they're here to stay. Oh, I believed in yesterday. That was me just going through it, trying to be as plain as possible. Now, if I actually do some muting in there, yesterday, all my troubles seem so far away. Now it looks as though they're here to stay. Oh, I believed in yesterday. That, I know I sped it up a little bit because it was, for me, doing a jazz waltz with this, that speed felt right. But I was muting a whole lot. You saw this hand doing a bunch, and I actually snuck in a little bit of palm muting too, actually, for some of those. But this is just one version of a jazz waltz rhythm. There's so many out there. There's even some where you could do like where I could play on that first beat if I wanted to, and I would pick probably the lowest note. So I'm doing my C string, and I could do strums. I just did picking there. I could go, which was me doing the strum where I'm doing a pick. All I'm doing is adding a pick to the very first beat. But if I'm doing that, I am not adding extra emphasis there. My emphasis is still on the off beats. That's part of what makes a jazz waltz have that sound, besides the swinging eighth notes. So keep that in mind when you're working on this. This particular jazz waltz rhythm is handy, and you'll hear it used frequently, but there are tons of other ones. I just wanted to be able to give you sort of a taste of it when you change things into a waltz. So today we went over the song yesterday. We went over the sort of original strumming pattern of it. We did some chord substitutions to add, just making things a little bit more complex. And then we had, sort of island reggae vibe. We took this song and just added some more sort of intricate picking and hammer-ons with that pattern that we had with our right hand. We made it to just a standard waltz. And then we did the jazz waltz. Let's see here. So the jazz waltz rhythm is actually very difficult to sing and play at the same time. So keep that in mind when you're practicing. Again, when you are singing and playing at the same time is hard. So when you are practicing a new strumming pattern, don't try to sing. Just practice the strumming pattern. When you feel that strumming pattern is second nature, then you can add the singing to it. Again, one thing at a time.
Well, not only that, when you're changing something as drastic as, the
Woo!
time signature,
Yeah.
definitely once you get the rhythm down, record yourself playing it and
Yep.
then sing over that recording just to feel where those syllables lie now, because it just feels completely different.
It is totally different. And with this song, you heard that, yes, in fact, I did change some of the melody, like how it would go, because I have to, because it wasn't 4/4 time, and now it's in 3/4. And getting into how I changed the melody line to fit is a whole other lesson, which is why we're only going over the chords and how to quickly transition the
And
chords.
here's, because people asked earlier, and this is my favorite picture recently of
Cameron.
Cameron that we took.
Oh, yes.
so
He
that
is
was-
such a thoughtful kid. He loves flowers, and he also loves to hand them to us to smell. He's very, very sweet.
But yes, for all of you who bought the diaper package, this is what it goes to. So
Yes.
thank you for that. Cameron thanks you for that. So
Yes.
we really appreciate it. And we can't thank you guys enough for your support, especially during this pandemic times.
Ooh.
And things are, every time I say something, it's getting better and better, and there's always like a big dip in or it's like so
It's like a roller coaster, right? It's all right, but things are getting better. We are starting to see some youth clubs are able to kind of get together, though it's socially distanced, and that's always a good sign. So we are just really, really grateful, that folks have been working hard on staying safe and all of that. So just keep it up so that we can come out and see you guys or invite you over to us. We definitely want to do that. And also that Diaper Club package does have a chord melody that sounds very similar to the tune yesterday. And
due to legal reasons,
yes, we do. We are trying very hard because of copyright. We don't have melody lines or lyrics listed. So that's part of it, is just trying to mind our P's and Q's with that.
but I think you guys will have, if you guys are into chord melody stuff or reaching out into it, or branching out into it, I should say, you'll definitely have some fun with.
And with that, there's
That's
going to
fine.
be a video link that we will email you, though depending on if this is a year later, we actually have the link listed in the packet. But if you're watching this now with live, I will be sending out me going through the piece with some tips. It's going to be like a mini lesson almost,
Yeah.
but then I'm going to go through and actually just play through the whole piece for you. And it's going to be out by July 3rd is when I'm planning on
And
getting it out.
if you did want to upgrade to the diaper package,
can.
like always send
Just
us a note.
send us a
We'll sort you out. No worries at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brazil. I hope you guys get better soon. I know there's always these pockets that are just, and we're hoping for good changes soon, so we
Yeah.
can see everyone in person soon.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Eric. Miss, my birthday is next month. It's actually the July 17th. So I'll be working on my birthday as per usual, which I do. I'm used to that. But it should be a lot of fun. Can we play the whole song through together before we go? Sure. I am going to pop up to the very top, but I might play some feel free to play F add 9s and whatnot. And I'm just going to play, we'll play in 4/4 time, folks. Don't worry. I'm not going to make us play in a waltz. And play, if we're in 4/4 time, you can play it as a reggae song if you want, whatever. I'm just going to probably play it pretty plain.
But yeah, thank you guys, and we'll leave after the song, but
Yeah.
we'll have updates soon. If there's any questions on our virtual retreat with Jake and Herb, definitely send us a note.
And if you're interested in our in-person retreat that we're going to be doing in March of next year, you can also send us a note as well. And hopefully we will have another meeting with Marion, our agent, and we'll be able to tell everyone the exact dates because we actually do have them. So,
But thank you so much for spending part of your Saturday with us.
yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yesterday. All my troubles seem so far away. Now it looks as though they're here to stay. Oh, I believe yesterday suddenly I'm not half the man I used to be. There's a shadow hanging over me. Oh, yesterday came suddenly. Why she had to go, I don't know. She wouldn't say. I said something wrong. Now I long for yesterday. Yesterday. All my troubles seem so far away. Now it looks as though they're here to stay. Oh, I believe in yesterday. D minor, ooh, G7, B flat, and F. Yes, nice. Awesome. Thank you guys so much. This has just been a whole lot of fun. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much. We'll see you soon.
Bye.
Aloha.